Let me break this down for you so there's no confusion. Your life right now is a direct reflection of what you believe about yourself. I'm not talking about what you say you believe. I'm talking about what's rooted deep down in your core. That's the truth most people run from. They want to blame the government, blame the economy, blame their parents, blame their boss. Nah, your beliefs are steering the ship. Your beliefs are why you're where you are right now. See, here's the crazy part. You can have all the talent in the world, all the education, all the connections. But if in your mind you keep seeing yourself as average, if in your heart you keep doubting whether you're enough, guess what? You'll live out exactly what you keep telling yourself. You can't outperform your own self-decided. That's why some of you keep sabotaging your opportunities. The moment it starts going good, you mess it up because deep down, you don't believe you deserve it. You become what you believe. If you believe you're broke, you're going to keep making decisions that lead to more lack. If you believe you're destined for heartbreak, you're going to keep choosing people who confirm that narrative. If you believe success is for other people, you're going to keep sitting on the sidelines, watching them win while you clap for them, silently wishing it was you. It all starts in your head. It all starts in your heart. You got to get this. You've been programmed since you were a kid. People told you what you could or couldn't do, who you could or couldn't be. Maybe they laughed at your dreams. Maybe they dismissed your ideas. Maybe they even said stuff like, be realistic. And because you heard it over and over, you started to accept it as truth. But let me tell you something. Just because it was spoken over you doesn't mean it's your destiny. Just because they couldn't see your vision doesn't mean it's invalid. Just because they settled doesn't mean you have to. The problem is you started to agree with them. You started to build your life around limitations that were never supposed to be yours. That's why your actions keep lining up with that script. That's why you don't even try sometimes. That's why you procrastinate. That's why you stay stuck. Because you don't really believe it's possible for you. And until that belief changes, nothing else will. Listen to me. Your brain is designed to prove you right. It's wired to filter out information and focus on what matches your dominant beliefs. So if you believe you're a failure, your mind is going to highlight every mistake, every flaw, every rejection, and ignore the wins. It'll ignore the growth. It'll downplay the progress. That's why two people can face the same setback and respond totally differently. One person sees it as final, the other sees it as fuel. It's the belief that makes the difference. And I need you to understand, this is bigger than positive thinking. This is about identity. Who do you believe you are at your core? Because identity drives behavior. If you see yourself as a champion, you'll train like a champion. If you see yourself as a leader, you'll speak up and take charge. If you see yourself as valuable, you won't tolerate disrespect. But if you see yourself as worthless, if you see yourself as someone who's always coming up short, you'll keep making choices that reinforce that story. So I'm challenging you right now. Stop lying to yourself. Stop saying you want to be great, but holding beliefs that keep you small. Stop saying you want to break generational curses, but you still believe it's impossible for someone like you. Stop saying you want to build wealth, but you still think money is evil. You're fighting yourself, and that's why you're tired. That's why your goals feel so heavy, because your mind is at war with your spirit. You want to change your life? Start by changing what you believe about you. Start declaring who you really are, even before you see the evidence. Start speaking it until your mind gets the message. I know it feels awkward. I know it feels fake, but that's how reprogramming works. You've spent years telling yourself you can't. Now it's time to tell yourself you can, over and over until it sticks. Let me be real with you. Nobody's coming to do this work for you. Your mom can't believe for you. Your coach can't believe for you. Your partner can't believe for you. You got to own this thing for yourself. You got to look in the mirror and decide that your past doesn't get to dictate your future. That your failures don't get the last word. That what they said about you doesn't hold weight anymore. Because once your beliefs change, your standards change. Your work ethic changes. Your circle changes. Your habits change. You stop entertaining stuff that doesn't align with where you're headed. You start showing up differently because now you know who you are and where you're going. That's when people start noticing. That's when doors start opening. Not because life suddenly got easier, but because you finally started living like the person who was meant to walk through those doors all along. I need you to get this deep in your spirit. You become what you believe. So stop believing lies. Stop believing limits. Stop believing what broke people told you. It's time to rewrite the story. It's time to believe something new so you can become someone new. That's the only way your life will ever change. Now let's get to work. And let me tell you something that most people will never be real enough to tell you. Wanting it is not enough. I don't care how many vision boards you got. I don't care how many quotes you post on your Instagram. I don't care how many times you scream, I want to be successful from the rooftop. If you don't have a relentless hunger that backs that up, all that talk is just noise. It's wishful thinking. See, everybody wants something. You could walk outside right now and ask 10 people what they want, and they'd all give you answers. I want to be rich. I want to lose weight. I want to be happy. Everybody wants the good life. That's not special. What separates the ones who actually get it from the ones who just keep dreaming is how bad they want it. I mean, how bad do you really want it? Because if we're being real, most people only want it kind of bad. They want it if it's convenient. They want it if it doesn't cause too much sleep, too much sweat, too much sacrifice. The minute it gets uncomfortable, they start backing up. The minute it gets heavy, they start looking for an easier route. They want the glory, but they don't want the grind. They want the prize, but they don't want the process. And that's exactly why they stay stuck. That's exactly why years go by and they're still in the same position, telling the same sad story about how life's unfair. You gotta want it so bad that your desire becomes obsession. You gotta want it so bad that people start looking at you sideways because you're operating on a different frequency. While they're out wasting time, you're building. While they're sleeping in, you're getting after it. While they're binge watching shows, you're perfecting your craft. They won't get it because they don't have your hunger. And that's okay. It's not for them to get, it's your vision, it's your calling. But you gotta prove it. Stop telling me how bad you want it and start showing me. Stop writing plans and start executing. Stop saying you're gonna change and start cutting off the habits and people that keep dragging you back. Because if you really wanted it, you wouldn't keep negotiating with your own excuses. If you really wanted it, you wouldn't keep letting your feelings dictate your work. That's the difference between the people who make it and the people who just clap for them. The ones who make it, they're hungry past convenience. They're hungry past motivation. They're hungry when it's raining, when it's cold, when they're tired, when they're heartbroken, when the money's funny. They still getting up and putting in work because they're driven by something deeper than feelings. And that's the piece you got to lock into. Feelings are fickle. They're up today, down tomorrow. If your grind is tied to your feelings, you're done before you even start. You'll only go hard when it's easy. You only push when it's pretty. But life don't work like that. The journey to your dreams is ugly, it's lonely, it's heavy, it's exhausting. And if you don't have a hunger that surpasses all that, you will quit. You gotta want it bad enough to endure, bad enough to look crazy, bad enough to fail in front of everybody and come back swinging, bad enough to be misunderstood, bad enough to keep running toward it even when it looks like it's running from you. That's what separates winners. That's what makes legend. Most people never taste that level of hunger. They never get desperate enough. You want to know why? Because comfort is addictive. Because average is easy. Because most folks would rather complain about their situation than do what it takes to change it. They'd rather have people feel sorry for them than feel the sting of discipline. They'd rather have 100 excuses than one painful season of grinding their face off to flip their reality. But that's not you. I refuse to believe that's you, because if you're still listening right now, something in you is stirring. Something in you is tired of settling, tired of watching from the sidelines, tired of saying maybe next year, or maybe when things calm down. You're done with that. You're ready to go after it like your life depends on it, because guess what? It does. Your dreams aren't going to chase you. Your destiny isn't going to force itself on you. You got to chase it down like a wolf. You got to get hungry again. You got to remind yourself every single day why you started. You got to put your vision in front of your face so much that it burns in your mind when you close your eyes at night. And then you got to be willing to pay the price. The real question is, are you? Because here's the truth. Everybody pays a price. You're either going to pay the price of discipline now or the price of regret later. Either way, it's going to cost you. The difference is discipline pays you back with rewards, with growth, with breakthroughs. Regret, that's a debt that keeps piling up interest and leaves you empty-handed at the end. So decide. Decide how bad you want it. Decide that your excuses are done running your life. Decide that your feelings don't get a vote anymore. Decide that the only option is forward. And once you make that decision, back it up with action so loud nobody ever has to wonder again how bad you want it. That's how you separate yourself. That's how you prove to life, to the world, and most importantly to yourself that you weren't just talking, you meant it. And that's when everything changes. Let me tell you something most people never grasp. You don't wake up one morning magically believing you're unstoppable. That's not how it works. You don't attend one seminar, read one book, watch one motivational video, and suddenly your life shifts. That's the fairy tale. That's the quick fix fantasy everybody wants because it means they don't have to do the real work. The truth is, belief is built. It's not gifted. It's forged over time under pressure through repetition. Just like a muscle, it needs resistance, it needs consistency, it needs daily engagement. And that's why most people never develop real bulletproof belief in themselves, because they dabble. They get excited for a week, maybe a month. They speak a few affirmations when it's easy, then they stop. And the moment life smacks them, all that belief they thought they had disappears. You got to get this. Your brain has been programmed for years, maybe decades, with limiting beliefs. Somebody told you what you couldn't do and you played it on repeat. You failed once and you decided that meant you were a failure. You tried to love somebody and they broke your heart. So you started believing love isn't safe for you. Over and over, your mind collected evidence that reinforced that old story. That's why it feels natural to doubt. That's why it feels comfortable to expect the worst. because that's what you've rehearsed. That's what you've trained your mind to do. So you got to flip the script. You got to start training new beliefs the same way. And it's not once, it's not twice, it's daily, hourly sometimes. You got to rewire your mind over and over until it becomes your new default. That's what repetition is about. It's about creating grooves so deep in your brain that the new belief becomes automatic. I don't care how awkward it feels at first. I don't care if you don't believe the words coming out your mouth yet. You keep speaking them, you keep writing them, you keep flooding your mind with the vision of who you're becoming, because eventually the mind starts to believe what it hears repeatedly. That's neuroscience, not magic. Your subconscious can't distinguish between truth and a vividly repeated statement. If you keep saying I'm broke, your mind says, got it, let's keep behaving like we're broke. If you keep saying I'm not good enough, it looks for evidence to prove it. So you flip it. You start telling yourself, I am built for this. I am favored. I am strong. I execute. I'm relentless. I finish what I start. Even if in the beginning your voice shakes and your head screams back, no, you're not. You keep saying it. Because with repetition, you drown out the old lies. This ain't about hype. This is about building new neurological highways in your brain so that confidence isn't something you force. It's just who you are. So that discipline isn't a struggle, it's just how you move. So that excellence isn't a special occasion, it's your standard. But don't get it twisted. You can't just talk it, you gotta prove it to yourself through action. Every time you do what you said you would do, even when you don't feel like it, you're teaching your mind that you can trust you. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you're stacking evidence that you are exactly who you say you are. And slowly, almost quietly, that builds belief. You want to know why most people's confidence crumbles under pressure? Because deep down, they know they're lying to themselves. They say they're disciplined, but they keep hitting snooze. They say they're committed, but they keep quitting when it's hard. And your mind keeps receipts. So when you stand in front of a big opportunity or a big risk or a big stage, your brain whispers, we're not ready. We don't really do what we say. So you build it through small, relentless repetition. Wake up on time, hit your targets, finish the workout, make the call you've been avoiding, do it again tomorrow. Over time, that's what creates the bedrock of unshakable belief. Not hype, not vibes, receipts, evidence, proof that you are who you say you are. And I'm telling you right now, the day will come when you'll stand in a storm so fierce it would break the old you. But because you've been repeating new thoughts, new words, new habits, new standards, you won't fold. You'll have such a track record of showing up that doubt can't even find a foothold. That's when belief stops being a fragile feeling and starts being your very identity. And when you walk like that, talk like that, grind like that, life has no choice but to respond differently to you. Opportunities come, not just because you want them, but because you're finally the person who can sustain them. Doors open because your spirit commands them to open. People respect you because your energy says, I've put in the work. I've earned this space. That's what repetition does. It builds something inside you that can't be faked. It builds a core that doesn't wobble when life gets heavy. And trust me, life will get heavy. There will be days when everything you love is tested, when people betray you, when your bank account laughs at your dreams, when your body is tired and your heart is crushed. And in those moments, it won't be motivation that saves you. It won't be some quote you saved on your phone. It'll be your deeply rehearsed, relentlessly repeated, battle-tested belief that says, this is hard, but I'm harder. This storm is big, but I've built something bigger inside me. So don't you dare stop repeating it. Don't you dare stop proving it. Don't you dare stop becoming it. Because that repetition is your path out of average. That repetition is your ticket to the life you've been chasing. Now go put it on repeat and let the world watch what happens next. Let me hit you with something real that most folks run from. Whatever you say you believe, life is going to test it. You can talk all day about how strong your faith is, how locked in your vision is, how hungry you are for success. But sooner or later, life is going to come knocking. And it's going to see if you're just saying it because it sounds good or if it's actually cemented deep inside you. You got to understand, life's not trying to destroy you. It's trying to reveal you. It's trying to see if all that talk, all that hype, all those declarations you've been putting out are backed by something real. It's easy to say you believe when everything's going smooth. It's easy to walk around with your chest out when the bills are paid, your body feels good, your friends are loyal, your dreams are trending upward. Anybody can be confident then, but what happens when the bottom drops out? Because I promise you, it will. That's not negativity, that's just life. You're going to have seasons where everything you built feels like it's falling apart. You're going to lose people you thought would be by your side forever. You're going to pour your heart into things that don't give you the return you expected. And that's when the real test comes. That's when we find out who actually believes. Most people fold under that kind of pressure. They start questioning everything. They let one setback cancel out years of progress. They let one betrayal make them bitter and closed off. They let one failure rewrite the story in their mind that says, see, maybe I'm not cut out for this. And if you're not careful, you'll let temporary pain plant permanent doubt. That's not what we're doing. Because if you've really built that belief through repetition, if you've been doing the work, speaking life over yourself every day, proving your grind in the dark when nobody's watching, when that test comes, you might bend, but you won't break. That's what separates people who actually make it from people who just wished for it. See, when you really believe, setbacks don't stop you, they sharpen you. Betrayals don't break you, they build discernment in you. Failure doesn't finish you, it fuels you. When your belief is rooted deep, when it's part of your DNA, you start looking at every hardship like, all right, this is tough, but I've been built for tough. This is heavy, but I've carried heavier. And don't get it twisted. I'm not saying it won't hurt. I'm not saying you won't have days when you're on the floor crying your eyes out, questioning everything. I've been there. Those nights when you can't even sleep because your mind is racing, your chest is tight, your heart feels like it's got holes punched through it. That's real. This isn't about being superhuman. This is about being someone who refuses to let pain dictate the final outcome. When your belief is tested, you get to prove it's not surface level. You get to stand 10 toes down in the middle of chaos and say, I still got purpose. I still got favor. I still got a vision that's bigger than this moment. And that's when everything changes. Because life starts respecting people who don't fold. Life starts opening doors for people who keep showing up, battered and bruised, but never bow out. I want you to think about the people you look up to most, the people who inspire you. They're not flawless. They didn't get everything handed to them. What sets them apart is that they survived storms that would have wiped most folks out. They kept building when it made no logical sense to keep building. They kept loving when it was safer to close off. They kept believing when nothing in their circumstances was affirming that belief. And that's what your test is trying to develop in you, because when you come out on the other side of that fire, and you will come out, you'll have a conviction nobody can shake. When somebody tries to talk down your dream, it'll bounce right off you. When fear tries to whisper in your ear, it won't even faze you, because you'll have receipts. You'll have scars that remind you, I made it through that, I can make it through this. But you only get that by staying in the fight. You only get that by refusing to let go of what you believe when everything in your life is begging you to quit. That's the part most people miss. They think because it's hard, because it hurts, because it's delayed, that it must not be meant for them. Nah, sometimes it's hard because it is meant for you, because it's molding you into someone who can handle the blessing on the other side. If your dream is massive, your character has to be even bigger. And character is only built under pressure. That's why it can't be easy. That's why life's going to put weight on you. It's going to stretch you, pull you, test you in ways that feel unfair. But on the other side of that is a version of you that's unstoppable. A version of you that's got a rock solid core that doesn't flinch when storms roll in, that doesn't second guess every step. So hear me right now. Stop running from the test. Stop praying for it to end so quickly. Start asking, what's this trying to teach me? How is this shaping me for the next level? Because if you embrace it, if you stand firm in what you believe, even when it's hard, your life will start to open up in ways you can't even imagine. That's the real proof of belief. Not what you say when it's sunny, but how you keep pushing when the sky goes black. So keep believing, keep speaking it, keep living it out loud, even when it doesn't make sense. Because on the other side of this storm is the life you've been fighting for, and you're closer than you think.